Towards the end of last month, Tokyo held municipal elections. The post-election headlines mostly focused on the dismal performance of the governing LDP. But one of the other interesting results was the relative success of a smaller party, Sanseitō, which is usually translated to do-it-yourself in English, and is often described as far-right. Now, Sanseitō only fielded candidates in 4 of Tokyo's 42 multi-member electoral districts, but 3 of those 4 candidates won seats, and one of them nearly came first, falling just 500 votes behind the LDP candidate. Sanseitō are also ticking up in the national polls too, and the party is now looking to the upper house elections due for July 20th. So in this video, we're going to take a look at Sanseitō's rise, and whether it can continue. We're getting ever closer to 1 million subscribers, and 68% of you aren't even subscribed yet. So lend us a hand and subscribe today. So let's get into it. Sanseitō was founded in 2020 by Sohei Kamiya, who's still the leader today and is very much the face of the party. Before Sanseitō, Kamiya had a brief but unstoried career in politics. In 2007, he was elected to the City Council of Suita, a suburb of Osaka, before running unsuccessfully as a candidate for the ruling LDP, then led by Shinzo Abe, at the 2012 national elections. After losing his race, Kamiya took a break from mainstream politics and started a YouTube channel called Channel Grand Strategy, which currently has about 500,000 subscribers. The channel's website says that Kamiya established the channel because, quote, school education is not conveying truly important information to the people because we lost the war, and most of his videos cover what we might describe as alt-right takes on Japanese politics and history. There's a lot of historical revisionism in there, essentially defending Imperial Japan and criticizing Japan's neighbors, especially China and South Korea. There's also quite a lot of pushing back against LGBT legislation, globalization, and immigration. Anyway, when the pandemic hit in March 2020, Kamiya set up Sanseitō. Sanseitō essentially began as an anti-lockdown party, arguing against mandatory mask wearing and vaccinations, and this was basically their platform for the 2022 election for Japan's upper house. These elections used a mixed electoral system, with 75 seats elected at the constituency level and a further 50 seats elected via a party list system across the whole country. Now, Sanseitō didn't win any constituency seats, but they won 3.5% of the party list vote, enough for 1 seat, which went to Kamiya. Once the pandemic subsided, most commentators expected Sanseitō to fall off, not least because niche parties have a habit of appearing and disappearing very quickly in Japan, especially on the right, because their leadership are often subsumed by the LDP. However, that didn't happen, and Sanseitō successfully pivoted to a form of nationalist or far-right politics. Unsurprisingly, there's a fair bit of ideological overlap between Sanseitō's politics and Kamiya's YouTube channel, and Kamiya also likes to draw parallels with Trump's America First doctrine. For instance, Sanseitō focuses a lot on immigration. They want to make it harder for foreigners to buy land in Japan, deny foreigners voting rights, and reduce the flow of foreign workers, on the grounds that foreigners apparently commit more crime and take welfare away from Japanese families. This is in large part a reaction to recent reforms to Japan's immigration system, which have loosened work visa requirements to reduce labour shortages and offset Japan's demographic crisis. Although we should of course say that Japan still has one of the most restrictive immigration systems and the lowest immigration rates in the developed world. They also want to rewrite the education syllabus to make it more patriotic, and amend Japan's constitution, written by the US after World War II, to allow Japan to have a standing army and its own nuclear weapons. With their social policies, Sanseitō opposed same-sex marriage and the LGBT Understanding Promotion Act, a 2023 law that obligates the Japanese government to protect LGBT people from, quote, unfair discrimination. Economically, Sanseitō are explicitly protectionist, arguing that the government needs to protect Japanese businesses from, quote, foreign capital. And Kamiya has previously expressed tentative support for Abenomics, Shinzo Abe's program of loose monetary and fiscal policy combined with lower taxes and deregulation. Now, combined, this pivot worked remarkably well. The party had performed well at recent elections and risen in national polls from about 2% at the start of the year to 5% last month, with the most recent polling this weekend putting them at an astonishing 8%. Now, this might not sound like much, but they're rising fast and are now probably the largest opposition party to the right of the LDP. So what explains Sanseito's relative success? Well, it obviously fits some of the wider international trends, including the rise of the far right across the world and the widening ideological divide between young men and young women, with young men making up a disproportionate fraction of Sanseito's voter base. But there are also some more specific reasons as well. For starters, Shinzo Abe's withdrawal from frontline politics, having served as Prime Minister and President of the LDP from 2006 to 2007, and again from 2012 to 2020, created an electoral void at the right of the LDP, and Sanseitō has successfully exploited this. After all, Abe was pretty right-wing, especially on cultural issues, and his successors, first Fumio Kishida and now Shigeru Ishiba, hail from the centre-left of the LDP, creating a vacuum on the right. In a survey conducted in mid-June, 60% of Sanseitō voters said that they strongly or somewhat approved of Abe's second stint as Prime Minister, more than those from any other opposition party. Sanseitō is also very online. It uses YouTube and other social media platforms to get its message out, essentially bypassing mainstream media, and members participate in the party's legislative process through an online platform, which also grants them access to an online group chat for their region, a 10-minute daily news podcast, and access to a program of training events which open the path to becoming a community organizer within the party. Not only does this create a network of highly engaged volunteers, it's also proved remarkably lucrative, allowing Sanseitō to charge far more for membership than other parties. Sanseitō charges 1,000 yen, or about £5 a month for ordinary members, and 4,000 yen for its higher tier, known as managing members. For context, membership to the Constitutional Democratic Party, Japan's largest opposition party, costs just 1,000 yen per year. Estimates put Sanseito's current membership at around 100,000 people, which implies an annual revenue of about 1.2 billion yen, or £6 million, far more than any other minor party. Whether Sanseito's momentum can continue remains to be seen, but there are at least two things going in their favour: their solid party finances and widespread voter apathy in Japan, as evidenced by weak turnout in recent elections. So if Sanseitō can turn out non-voters, as far-right parties have in other countries, they could truly be in the money. All of this plays into a broader feeling of chaos in the world at the moment. Whether it's wars, economics, or geopolitics, it feels like things are increasingly uncertain. And who's at the middle of all of that? Well, the United States. At one time, the US seemed to be a steady, stabilizing force in global politics, but it seems that those days are over, with American influence, popularity, and dominance on the decline. So in the next issue of our magazine, Too Long, we're discussing this shift, and the potential that we're currently observing the end of the American order. In that section of the magazine, we unpack everything from the collapse of democratic norms in the US to the decline of American soft power, and if the US can maintain its dominance in energy and technology. We also discuss the people who could pick up the reins from the US, like if China, Europe, or even a new multipolar order could replace America. This magazine is our longest ever, coming in at 76 pages, and it's full of our very best journalism and well thought through analysis. That goes beyond just the US too, with more than half of the magazine dedicated to other topics, from Germany's new focus on military might, the offshoring of migrants around the world, how Nigel Farage could become Britain's next Prime Minister, or our section where we ask a handful of experts what's really driving anti-establishment sentiment around the world. You can pre-order a copy of Too Long from our website right now, or you can subscribe to make sure that you never miss an issue going forward. And if you do, you'll also get 20% off every copy as long as you're subscribed. Plus, just this week, if you use code AmericanOrder, you'll get an additional 20% off any subscription, bringing down the price to as little as £6.40. So pre-order a copy now to get yourself all of that extra content and support the journalism that we do here at TLDR every single day.